Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Let's play some music and then hopefully we are going to start in just a few minutes. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully everybody's doing okay. Let's see who is here. Knitting Yogi first. Good morning. Carol, Lamb. Good morning. Barbie's here. Kylie's here. Oh my gosh, we have the whole world. Kelsey, hello. Hi, CE. It's been a while, I know. I'm February 15th. Safi was February 5th, which was yesterday. So she had a celebration with whole day of sleeping. And we are going through Mercury Retrograde throughout the entire period. Well, no, the early ones from the January 19th to 30th actually escape this. So guys, I'm going to start right away. I am not in a good mood and I didn't get enough sleep. So I have to tell you right out of the gate. I had the issue with a guy in the dog park. His dog is continuously attacking Tiger and bit him 4 times, and he's still allowing her to run around with without a leash. And so hence you have to put your foot down. So today he heard me. And I don't like to start my day with basically spelling people out what they should be or should be not doing. So hence, just like bear with me. I just really have to kind of like tone down. Hi, hello Chris. So what I'm doing this time around, I'm going to do 5 cards Lenormand, a reading for a week, and or maybe I should do 7. It's not necessarily 1 per day, so it actually technically doesn't matter. Probably 5 is better because it's a week after all. So we are going to start with Aquarius, and you guys know the rules. In the middle I'm going to do angel cards, and then I'm going to do the angel cards for everybody who is saying something over here. In the end I'm going to do angel cards as well, the second round. That goes right after the door segment, right, which Barbie calls. Oh, hi Chris, thanks. Oh, thank you. And then I'm going to pull a card for my mods, and that's kind of how it's going to be. All right, so let's start. We are starting right away here with Aquarius. Let's just put a stamp, and I'm recording this both on my streaming software and on my phone. It's just like, you know, when one thing goes off, I think 2 things went off. Because not only did I fight with the guy who is the owner of the dog, but I have a friend who is friends with him, so now I'm in fight with him. And anyway, so it's just a mess. So Aquarius, let's start. Happy birthday, Safi. I don't know if she's going to show up. Hopefully she's going to bring her pretty head. I came home, I was like steaming, and I really have to tone down when I'm mad. Like I look very threatening, because like just like you can see like steam coming from the ears and everything. And Safi came, what's wrong? She was just calming me down. So Aquarius, for this upcoming week, let's see what's happening. We have the locket, we have crossroads, we have the lilies, we have the ring, and we have the clouds. So clearly there's like something from Mercury Retrograde coming up here, right? The lilies is always things from the past, certain things that are resurfacing. In our situation, it is, I think, we are renewing a love for something. Oh my gosh, I need to sneeze. Just give me a second. Oh, he escaped. Oh, like, you know, it's right there. Oh, okay, hopefully it went away. It is really interesting. I mean, in Lenormand, you can look at cards individually. I generally like to do grand tableau, which is actually very exhaustive, and I just do it sometimes as a part of the readings for my steady clients, because it can kind of like show timeline. Then the 5 card doesn't, but like since we are doing for a week, we kind of like know where this is going to happen. So now it's really telling me that something is coming from the past, and that things are kind of like turning around in circles and in cycles, and maybe we want to resolve something. Maybe we are trying different ways of resolving it. Yes, that's for Aquarius knitting yogi. That's why the crossroads are having here, right? So this is saying one way, other way, third way, kind of a thing. This also can talk, interestingly, the locket is talking about partnerships, that are both love partnerships and that are also business partnerships here as well, right? So this really talks about kind of like maybe exploring different directions. So this could mean kind of like working on a business and trying different ways. This could mean having multiple choices in love relationships, right? But clearly there's like something that has been happening in the past that is like going to kind of like restart all over again. Lilies can also indicate sexuality as well. It can indicate a partner who could be, I don't know, salt and pepper or gray hair, right? Or even a bald kind of like a person, right? But it's also kind of like talking about somebody sexy. This can also talk about aging if you really wish, and doctors and maturity and morality, that kind of like a stuff. Some kind of like support. But like this looks like it cycles it right back with this ring. It's just like, it looks like we are spinning in circles, like there is like always we are coming back to ground zero. And that's because of the clouds. Clouds are kind of like coming up here and telling us, oh my God, you know, like, I mean, you kind of like have to really figure out what it is, maybe. Or actually on a positive side, now when I think about it, the simple can say that the direction is still not going to become clear. You know, when you try, for example, if this is like, I mean, you go out with several people and you still don't know which one is going to peak, right? And so this is what this is describing. This cloud is saying, okay, you will not reach decision or clarity in this particular week. Let me just get this here. I want to get these clouds. What is this all about? Did I not tell you it's reunion? It's somebody from the past. Maybe somebody from the past is reappearing. This ring could also mean that somebody from the past is still very married, or very engaged, or very much set in their ways. So hence, you're just going for one more spin kind of a thing. But it's going to be some contemplation of reunion. It's going to be something that possibly is going to tantalize us of a sort. Or if this is not a love relationship, this could be that something from the past is coming back and asking us, hey, do you want to give it a second shot? Do you kind of like want to try with this? So it's going to be really, really interesting. All right, so that's Aqua girls and boys. So hopefully that's helpful. And now we're going to start pulling the cards. Man, my hot flashes. Guys, when you get to a certain age and the guys don't know it, it's almost like somebody just randomly setting you on fire. And like I was cold when I sat down. Now I'm like boiling hot. So, hey. If I have to come back, I'll probably come back as a man. Mind you, they have their own issues. So, nobody is like really great. Hello, Creative Guru. Nice to see you. Gemini, you're next. Gemini. So, let's see. Put a stamp here for Barbie, for Gemini. Do we have any Gemini in the house over here? It's funny but not funny. Hot flashes. Oh my god, I know. Like I have like a stereo right next to my bed, 2 fans blowing at me. So it almost like feels like I'm always in some kind of like beach. So Gemini, let's see what we have here for you. Alright. So we have stars, the clover, the mice, the clouds, and the fish. I think, guys, you are assessing, I guess, some attitude, or maybe somebody is pointing out attitude of yours, if you wish. It kind of like, it looks like there is a trail of bad events. What was this, Lemony Snicket books? Anybody read those books, which I adore, right? This is kind of like really talking about things that kind of like that damaging in any direction that you kind of like can't conceive, right? Mice is kind of a dominant card in this particular deck, and it's really talking about, you know, creating damage. So is it you who is doing this, or is it somebody else who is doing this? Like it's for you to kind of like know. But clearly you have like such a good intention. You are going to even have a stroke of luck in something. So the stars can talk about communication. So keep in mind, we are going through Mercury Retrograde. Communication is important, right? And most of the time this communication kind of like really explodes in your face, just like my morning kind of like issue that I have, right? So this can talk about something that you're really hoping for but ends up in a loss, which kind of creates complete confusion for you. I mean, we can translate it any way, right? Like, I mean, you want. We can talk about, while we are dealing here with relationship, and that something really, really looks promising. The clover is a small luck. In Lenormand, we have a bouquet that is a big luck. But nonetheless, when it's a weekly reading, and the clover is more than enough, that really kind of like we need to do that, right? Oh my gosh, Kylie, I have hot flashes since I was in my 30s. It's just ridiculous. So I have to advise you, if you are a business owner, guys, if you have somebody who has access to your cash, to your bank accounts, that it might be some kind of theft, let's put it like, I mean, bluntly, or it could be some kind of like waste, that something is just not going to happen. Maybe you hire a contractor, they take a deposit and they vanish. It's going to have that kind of like energy, right? And it was really nothing that you need to blame yourself, because that was like said properly, it was communicated properly, the agreement has been reached as well, right? But I think that's going to be at some point something that is going to make you uneasy, that is going to cause stress, and yeah, it could be even some kind of like an illness as well. But nothing general, nothing major, not thinking even COVID in this particular situation. Something like a mice. You know how they are annoying they are, like they go forward and they eat everything and they leave the kind of little kind of like droppings in behind. So it's freaking much in all directions. So it could be that you have a stomach upset of some sort, right? I also think, guys, that, you know, when it comes to business, when it comes to kind of like, I mean, setup, just because you're experiencing certain, let's say, roadblocks, it doesn't mean that the conceptually you're doing anything wrong. The same thing in a relationship. Just in a relationship, the only thing that I can kind of like add over here, you really need to kind of like really figure out if a person you're choosing is a mistake. And so the entire week is going to ask you to reassess. So you might want to shift certain things, even though I think conceptually everything you're doing is right. So let me see this little damaging mice over here, what's really happening. So, faithfulness. Huh. Maybe somebody's very loosey-goosey with the term, right? Maybe somebody is just, you know, it couldn't be nothing worse. Let's say you die and you end up on the other side and you're telling about a partner. One word that probably would be so damaging would be he was disloyal, right? So given that faithfulness came on the back of this card of the mice, this is kind of like what the clue is, that we really need to think over here, like if these people are really on our side, if these people really want to kind of like help us when something really, when we are in need. It doesn't look like that somebody is a true friend over here, right? So if this is a business situation, then maybe you're giving assignment to somebody and they ignore it, and this is why it might cause a financial issue. So just keep this in mind. It's very important here to know. So guys, you need to pamper yourself this week, but you also really have to keep an eye on the ball, and that's going to be very important over here. So yeah. Well, actually, I don't want to come back as a man. I want to come back as a Siamese cat of a very rich person. So kind of to specify, this is even better than being human, because like you literally on vacation all your life. You get the best food, you get this like big mansion, and they're taking care of you, and so on and so forth. Aries. Now Aries, you had a very interesting monthly, and oh boy am I exhausted, like 2 weeks in a row doing monthlies, huh? That's something. Let me put a stamp over here for you. Aries. Let's see what's coming up over here. For my dear Arieses over here. That's right, you get 9 lives. Oh my gosh, clever. And Siamese cats are very talkative, so they're like sort of like a hybrid between a cat and a dog. And oh my gosh, they're like always, wherever they enter, they're told they're pretty. It's just like being born like a model and something. So it's perfect. Except, you know, you can be a little bit too much at times. Where's Safi? Safi! Birthday girl! Safi, birthday girl! Alright, so. Who am I reading right now? Aries. Aries. The moon. The tree. The clover. The bear. The key. You're reading like Lenormand in a much different way than you're reading tarot. And the very first thing that came to me, it's a monthly period. There is something that is occurring monthly that is connecting with health. So it could be dialysis of some sort. And you know that I don't do the health thing, but this is kind of like the very first thing that came to mind. And also we have the moon, and the moon is not going to be full this week. It's not going to be full next week. It's going to be full on 27th when you have the full moon. The only thing in terms of moon fullness is going to happen around the 11th which is going to be a new moon. So the moon generally here does not necessarily talk about emotions per se. It's rather talking about how we kind of like how we handle situations that are pressure, right? And so basically in this particular case, this simply means, you know, maybe we need to man a business. It's a positive energy, and it's about also fame, it's about honor, it's could be also about recognition of some sort. Maybe you guys taking steps in remedying your own health, and that kind of like can show here as well. Maybe you have been looking for a cure and things really worked kind of like halfway, and now there is like, I mean, a possibility that like, I mean, you're going to hit the jackpot and it's going to be a fitting treatment or fitting things. The same thing goes and translating different things, maybe, you know, and trying to find a good fit at work and find a healthy work atmosphere. And then the key means, hey, you know what, something is going to happen for sure. So what is going to happen is really promising, because even if this is a relationship maybe that needed some kind of like quote unquote repair, and you need to find a solution, but kind of like it doesn't look like that you are like raising from the ashes either, right? The moon is full, so it's not like that something is really kind of like brittle, if you wish. So it almost looks to me that you are really almost like in a perfectionist mode, that you really want to go to that kind of like a level kind of a thing. So for you guys, you're going to be lucky. Things are going to really turn in your favor. This also can talk about some lottery wins. I'll be really honest for you, to you, and like, I mean, you have the numbers here you can play, because sometimes Lenormand gives you numbers: 32, 5, 2, 15, 33, 8, 10, 6, 7, and 8. So that's, or the combination of them, like it could be something that is going to be really important for you. And the key is one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful card in Lenormand, which always promises solution. And that solution has to be in sync with doing things that are right and doing things that kind of like really help us to move forward, right? So just keep this in mind. Like, I'm just not worried for you, my dear Aries. It's going to be really something right up your alley. And you got like freaking 5 cards. Look, you have the wife and the Lord, and you have a conversation, and then you have a melancholy. So this almost like tells me there's an established couple of some sort. So if you are not in a couple, then looks like that maybe there's an influence of a couple, or you might be approached by a couple of some sort. And it doesn't have to be literally mother or what it is. It just like shows like about nurturing, and somebody's in a situation of somebody is with the money. And also this is what Bear is suggesting, that I don't know, do you need investment, do you need somebody to kind of like put some money in your company, do you maybe need a loan, do you maybe need a job, and you're going to find like, I mean, this place is quote unquote your home. So hence this conversation where she's talking and she's feeling comfortable. But overall, melancholy is kind of like the fly in the ointment, kind of like you're asking yourself, like, I did all of that, so why I'm not happy? So that is like what you guys need to tell me in the comments, because I need to figure out, you really want something badly, and you are badly fighting for it, and you are getting it, and maybe it's just like simple exhaustion. Melancholy is not depression. It's just like one of those days when you're kind of like in the funk. I generally kick myself out of melancholy really quickly by getting angry, and that gets me out in a hurry. I just have to do something, like go on YouTube and see how people abuse animals. I'm angry in a second, and that kind of like remedies that thing. Kylie, never played the lottery. Maybe this week I'll buy a ticket. Make sure you win the jackpot. That would be awesome. Then you come to Toronto and visit, okay? I'm gonna sip of coffee. It's so cold outside. Creative girl, I'll come back as a very rich person who has a bunch of spoiled Siamese cats. That will be like, I will be your cat in the next life. Ooh, Aquarius, we did us first. Again, happy birthday to Aquarius. Very sappy girl. I guess she didn't like in the morning when I came back that I said not now, and now she feels offended. Sappy. Matrix. When I call Matrix, she shows up. So we have Taurus. We have Taurus happening over here. Okay, Taurus. Oh, I forgot to do these slips. And now people don't know where they are. At least I remember. halfway. Just give me a second. So we did Aries. We are doing Taurus right now. We did Gemini. And we did Aquarius. Okay, it's not that horrible. So let me put a stamp for Taurus. Please remind me, guys, in the future if I mess it up, because some people like to click through it. It takes us time. Barbie's not a computer. I'm not a computer. So until they get their stamps, they're just clicking through it, and this way helps them locate their reading. So let's see. Taurus. I know, travel. I know, I'm dreaming, right? Like, we are all locked down, and we have a horrible premiere. It's just a dummy, the Trans Ontario. Oh, sorry, just my opinion. I shouldn't be going into that. It's just like common sense. We have all these infections. The hospitals are overburdened. So what he does, oh, well, let's open the schools. Let's open everything. Like, what? Like, for that, you don't even need to have a grade 1 kind of a thing, right? So I don't understand what's going on. It's just like business over people, and that annoys me to no end, right? So let's do this. We have the rider, we have the snake, and we have the ship, we have the journal, and we have the owls. So there is like some kind of like conversation. It's kind of weird that you have both the rider and the ship, and I really think this is kind of like building up on this conversation with Kylie, meaning like the travel. Like, travel is pretty much not allowed. Not that people are respecting it, people still do it. Well, here in Ontario, they can be criminally charged, and I think a couple of people have been charged already for that. It's kind of like suppressing, and it's tough for all of us, but this is the only way to really do it. It almost like looks to me there is like possibly some kind of conversation about it that you are doing, or some kind of like transition, or that you're really going and moving in a new direction of a sort, right? And or you're preparing, you're discussing with somebody. So guys, if you're the one who wants to travel and who you shouldn't be traveling, you really need to think about it, because the journal actually suggests secrecy. There's like something that is going to be under. The snake is also suggesting secrecy. It's talking about something hidden, right? Something clandestine. Maybe this is a couple. She's looking at him. Maybe he's going away, and hey, I'm going to lure you in because this is the sexiest figure in the entire Lenormand, right? And then like ship is here dominating. It's almost like a pinnacle, right? That's kind of like how I'm looking at this kind of like spread. And it's kind of like ship is always talking about transitioning. Ship to me is akin of a death card, where kind of like certain things, you're leaving certain things behind and you're moving somewhere toward. But ship is going in this direction, this is going in this direction. So it almost looks to me there's like some kind of like, let's say, disagreement, that people are going in different directions over here. The snake can be a card of a possible loss of a sort, right? And it can indicate sometimes a person who is really close to you, but it's not necessarily your friend. Kind of like it can be ex-lovers or backstabbers or that kind of like sort of a thing, right? So you have to be really careful about people around you this week, because you might encounter lies, you might encounter jealousy and dishonesty, right? And it's kind of like pulling you apart. Like, it's part of you really wants to run after this person, another part is just want to kind of like take your suitcases and run, kind of a thing. I think that it might even be all based on some kind of gossip, or it could be based on a few harsh words, and that certain things can kind of like kind of cannot be productive. To me, it's really kind of like this combination telling the journal and the owls. The journal is always talking about expressing your own thoughts, but it's also talking about secrecy. It's also talking about keeping it to yourself, right? So hence it's like you're keeping it to your chest. Certain things are maybe known to somebody else, but maybe not, right? And the owls is again to me talking about something in the darkness. So Taurus, like, I mean, are you trying to get out of this darkness altogether? Because the ship is really, really, really strongly positioned over there, right? And there is like this really willingness to get into some adventure. As I said, this is that technically means foreign travel, but since we really don't have foreign travel right now, it means you really, really want to move far away from a situation that you're at, or maybe you were waiting for something to get resolved and it didn't get resolved, right? So if you are not doing travel or vacations, I almost said vaccinations, so I guess it's a Freudian slip, right? Then it's probably a good business card. Maybe you're really thinking about the money, and it's kind of like one of those, like a merchant card, like, I mean, your ship is coming in, right? And keep in mind that actually can represent your car of some sort. Maybe you have two modes of transportation, whatever they are, bicycle and a car, tricycle and a bicycle, whatever it is, right? And maybe, like, I mean, this is really telling you that you really need to kind of like pay attention to it, right? Because that can happen. Also, I would probably say that there is like something really, really important. So important that you're trying to make this entry in your journal, what is like about your life and how do you deal with your life. So that is really, really important. Good morning, Lorna H. Good to see you. Let me see, just an overall card, what comes out. Pleasure seekers. Yeah. There is a group of people and you're not welcoming this group of people. I just don't intuitively feel that it is you who is in this pleasure seeker group. I more or less feel that, like, I mean, you're almost like irritated. To me, this card generally talks of third party person. This card talks about third party person, and these two cards can talk about different partners, right? So it could be that there is like if you're a woman, it could be there's another woman who is very, very sexy and tantalizing. If you are a man, then it's going to be really kind of like somebody who is twisting you around the little finger and has a certain power over you, and you don't even know. You don't want it, but you just cannot resist it. It's kind of like that witchy witch kind of like a situation. And the owls always here talk about basically communication. In the other decks, it's more or less talking about birds, right? But here are the owls, and owls are kind of always having a little bit of more wisdom that comes with it. But that can also talk about gossip. It can also talk about therapy, needing kind of like to talk something out, or it can talk about some interview or in a relationship setting, something that is underground, something kind of secretive meeting, right? If you really wish. Could be lots of phone calls here as well. You're really trying to make your put your say about somebody, right? That something really needs to happen. So that's going to be really interesting. So if your inclination is not to trust, you are right on. Don't trust, and something needs to end for something else to start. And maybe you don't like the fact that this hasn't been public, that you haven't been recognized, or that something is not going in this direction, but your gut feeling will be telling you pretty kind of like accurate information. So listen to it. It's going to be important. Alrighty, let me have another sip of coffee, and let's see who will be the next. I could think this air conditioning hole, I can actually do a better thing. I'm feeling this, it's very cold outside coming through. So this week, it's unusual for February. Like at this point, we are already, snow is melting, like kind of the spring is slowly approaching. This year, polar vortex. Capricorn, you guys are next. Capricorn. Okay, let's put a stamp. So, let's see what is going to be happening with Capricorn this particular time. Capricorn. Capricorn. All right. The anchor, the ship. Okay, something is not moving. Like somebody's really eager to travel, to do stuff. Oh my gosh. Like, Chris, is this you? Like you're exploding in your like on kind of like situation, and you're finding this like, I mean, frustrating. This is interesting. Look, you have the anchor, the ship, the stork, the mountain, and the journal. This is going to be really, really interesting. So we will see that. Yeah, maybe we'll have Virgo next. So anchor is holding the ship over here, right? Ship is observing the storks over here, so something that is moving forward is now making us reassess maybe the residence, or maybe, as I said, something really wants to move forward. The stork can also designate pregnancy of some sort. The pregnancy doesn't have to be sort of like child pregnancy. It could be something that kind of like you want to move forward, almost like it feels constrained. So or maybe simply the anchor is lifted, or you want to lift this anchor to kind of like move in this direction, but you feel settled. The mountain shows up, and mountain in Lenormand shows this like a really strong force, and a really kind of like what they call it in astrology square, a situation where it's difficult, it's slippery, it's sharp, it's harsh, bad conditions. So hence, going around this, you don't really have a clear path. Going on top of it, you might kind of like die. So this kind of like really extends certain things. Maybe you're dealing with somebody with whom you're not sure where you're standing, and hence the mountain and the journal are showing up. Maybe some of you are enrolling courses of some sort, and these courses you feel blockage of a blockage of some way, but you clearly want to kind of like really go in some kind of like new beginnings, and the obstacles show up right away. And that's because it's freaking Mercury retrograde. Why don't you wait until the 20th to just sort of like shelve this idea for a little while? Not me, I'm going traveling today and the next weekend. And I guess that's what it shows. Like somebody's going. There is like something going on over here. You have the mountain, Mr. Chris, over here. So let's see, what is this all about? You're going to see a friend, and it could be somebody younger than you, and it's a really kind of like lovely energy over here. But you might also have some obstacles when it comes to kind of like seeing your friend, right? Because this is a really lovely card. This is a really gentle card, right? And so whenever the friend shows up, it can talk about help, but it can talk about being kind of like attentive. This could be your best friend as well, that is really talking about here as well. But if you're meeting somebody, as it looks like traveling to meet somebody, it's only the other cards to determine the outcome of this relationship, because this is going to kind of like be secretive, or something has to be kept secretive, maybe because you're not supposed to travel. We're kind of like doing this here as well, and it's going to be very, very comfortable. This is like one of those cozy cards, right? There will be favorable circumstances, situation, or events, and it's kind of like some kind of like journey. So journey can be a literal journey, or it could be something that is really shifting inside of us. The mountain worries me a little bit, because mountain is telling that something has to be surmounted, right? Something really needs to be dealt with, right? So that is kind of like very important thing to do it. So maybe it's some kind of challenge. Maybe some people like challenge, and that's can be more than welcome, kind of like do that. But this can also talk about some kind of procrastination or somebody being very stubborn if you kind of like really wish, right? In any case, whatever it is, it's going to be a slow progress, which is possibly the best way when you have a combination with a friend, because whenever you push friend into kind of like faster acting, that card can actually trigger either very, very positive or very, very negative reaction. So that can kind of like be happen. So hopefully it kind of like really works well for you, Mr. Chris. So let me see where we are going next. Kylie, it's not the virus fear, it's getting stuck in the red tape, quarantine, and domestic border court closures. Friends and female, I'm on my guard, but yes, terribly stubborn. Who is stubborn? You are stubborn? A goat is stubborn? Oh. Sip of coffee. Oh my gosh, I finally tried that avocado shake, that green smoothie shake is the Dr. Gundry talk, and I'm just doing this lectin-free diet, and it's so far so good. And I was like looking at this recipe which he wants for a breakfast. I was thinking, this is disgusting. It's romaine lettuce plus spinach plus avocado, and I was like, ugh, kind of a thing. And then finally I braved it yesterday, and I put a little bit of and he does lemons and he does mint. If anybody wants, I can send them a recipe. And what else? And I put a spoon of MCT oil and a ghee butter, and oh my god, that was like one of those shocks, because I don't like drinking anything green, but that was smoothie, and it was fantastic. It was so refreshing. It almost like reminded me of sitting on the beach ocean and sipping on a mojito. It was really, really good. And apparently it's just amazing to coat your whole body. So, Barbie, am I already here? Am I not into doing one more? Huh? Oh, Taurus rising. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I not write something down? We'll do doors after this. So let's do Cancer, because I think the Cancer is the 6th one. Yeah, I never tried avocado in a smoothie before, but it kind of like worked. So, Cancer. Cancer. Whoops. One more time. That's right. Hey, Sally, good to see you. How is Madame Florida? Send some warmth here to Toronto. We're really, really, really cold. Really, really cold. It's going to be for the entire week. Whoa, we have a gentleman, and then we have the clouds, we have the house, we have the child, and then we have a garden. Now, this is really interesting. Are you guys meeting somebody who has a child, and this person wants to date you, but this person is putting him, of course, typical Cancer, he's putting his own kind of like stuff first, and everybody else just simply have to kind of like maneuver around. That's the usual situation that I see in the beginning of relationships, where sort of like you allow them to kind of like have the pattern. You don't expect them that everything is just going to be dropped just because gorgeous you walked in. But there's like something that over time needs to lessen in order for everybody to be on equal footing. But this person here is confused. This person here has doubts and maybe dealing with delays and problems and difficulties, right? Maybe the person is actually having an issue about his housing. Can be as blunt as that. But it looks like this house is connected to the child, and child can literally mean a child. But it can mean a new project. Maybe somebody's moving houses. Maybe somebody really wants to go in a new direction. But this person is almost like actively going in all directions in his life. He wants to date. He wants to start new projects, maybe he wants to move forward, yet he doesn't have a concept of how to go forward. So typically for a water sign, that's how they really react. This is very opposite to us air signs. If somebody says, well, you know, this is what they want, and you don't have a plan, we're like, oh, like we gasp in horror, right? Where to them they're working this intuitively, and it kind of like really really works for them, and that's kind of like how that can really work out, right? So hey, you know, you can replace avocado, I'm sure, with tofu or something like that that gives texture. So it, or protein, kind of like a scoop, that kind of like probably would do. So my dear Cancer, I think this clouds is kind of like putting me a little bit aside, because the clouds are a little bit negative, and it can talk about setbacks or troubles, right? In Lenormand, there are like 7 cards that are designated as Sinister 7. And so the dark clouds, look at the dark clouds are right here. So it's almost like that, and he's holding a rose. It's almost like kind of, it's really hard for him to look that there is a sun on the other side is coming through. Maybe simply talking about somebody who is kind of like having a kind of like a little bit barrier. Because what is really important lesson for you this week that you need to remember, that clouds eventually lift and the sunlight returns. So while under the clouds, one should not passively sit back and wait, but kind of like really look for the storm end. So, and this dude is doing that. And whether this is you or this is somebody coming in your life, you're kind of like getting a little bit kind of like profiling of this person. If this person is working from home, they can really talk about some kind of job setback, which in a sense is a good thing. Like something bad happens and you go, you don't like the hit at all. But when it happens, like this person is jumping in the action. Most people don't know about cancers, that cancers are ridiculously ambitious. And they set their goals, they really go toward goals. That's why they're represented with the chariot, I mean all the knights in tarot, and that's really really important. Now be very careful over here. This person could be a smoker, if this is your thing, or could be a person who is using drugs. That's another thing that I see over here. So there's like something that is brewing over here that's starting, and something gently starting, but I think this will be continuing, because the energies are, oh, I should have gotten one of the gypsy cards. Let's just do that. I think this is going to last longer. It's the energies that's just seeding, but it's going to last possibly 6 months. Thought. And again, think through it. Think twice, cut once. Measure twice, cut once. And that's the best advice I can give you here. Because you're pushing yourself through, you're tired of feeling suppressed and down and doing stuff, and you're going to break through. You will break through, and that's what is really really important over here. So hopefully, Sally, that kind of helps there as well, for you. And now Barbie said we are going to do the doors, right? Okay, so let me hide this for you here. Where's my mousey? Guys, think of a question. Think of a question. And think about which door you want to take. Not the 3. All right. I have all 3. Let me go back wherever I was. Put a stamp. These stamps I usually forget. Now there is one more card here that was face up, so I'm going to put it on the side. That was like with the last shuffle. So I'm going to take these two cards. So who took door number 1, who took number 2, and who took number 3, right? So the door number 1, guys, is a King of Rods reversed. This can talk about some manipulation. Somebody's going to feel manipulated, or you will feel manipulated, or it might be some kind of anger and eruption of some sort. If this succeeds is going to succeed by being bullied into existence, and I don't think this is a win-win situation. The door number 2 is the Star, and this is like a clear success. This is positivity, this is hoping, this is like uplifting. And again, Chris, for you, Capricorn, you have this friend level over here. What is really important in the situation is utmost transparency. Like, I mean, in Tara's story, she's feeding and nurturing the Fool who just came from the devastation of Tower. So hence, if there is like something that is built on the wrong ground, it's going to create further turmoil. So here is asking for everything to be out in the open, and the answer is yes. And at door number 3, we have 6 of Cups reversed, and this is the card that lingered, which is like 2 of Pentacles. Now, for the door number 3, you are asking for somebody possibly from the past. You are maybe thinking about somebody, you're wondering how they are doing, what's going on, but there is like also anticipation or even fear that somebody is kind of juggling, and that somebody is, I mean, it can be a long distance of a thing, or there may be so many things on a plate, or maybe simply, like, I mean, extremely easy answer would be you have so many things on your plate from the past, and now you're kind of like figuring out, deadline is here, I have to deal with this, which one do I kind of like start dealing with first? So it is really neat to kind of like move carefully in this direction. But there are like things from the past that might be coming to the surface. So Mercury Retrograde is affecting whoever picked the door number 3, guys. So that's really, really important to know. All right, so let's go that. Let's go further. Who is next? You know what's next? Next mine is my sip of coffee. They did a test on CBC News. They blindfolded people and put Tim Hortons, put Starbucks. I'm trying to remember. Second Cup is another chain we have here in Canada. But it was something else. I think it was 4 or 5. And I think McDonald's was one of them. So, unanimously, people declared, blindfolded study, that Tim Hortons was the best coffee. And I really have to agree. And what is better is like when you brew your own and you mix your own grains, and I think that's really hard to surpass. So the next one is Leo. Leo is starting the part 2 with a cat on the top. So let's see, 5212. So we see Leo, and let's shuffle this a little bit. Oh, Sally came in the right time. Right time. Oh, you chose 3, Leo. This one wanted to come out. The sickle. Something. And it's cutting the blue rose. And the blue rose is forgettingness, not forgetfulness. Forgetting something, right? Like you just don't want to deal with something, kind of a thing. Let's see what else. Oops. And then we have the snake, then we have the owls, then we have the bear. Leo. Maybe you're tired of some gossip. Maybe you're dealing with a person who is kind of like leading you down the garden path, if you wish, in a possibly wrong direction, right? I really think you will have to exceed over your own capabilities and position yourself in a situation where you really communicate your wishes, your needs, your hopes, right? The owls being on the top over here. There's like something over here, like, I mean, what you want here is like so beautiful. You want comfort, you want money, but not money for the sake of money. That's not the bear. That would be sort of like in here we have literally card money. Actually, maybe I should grab the card as well so we can have everything in one and see for Leo what happens here. Where is Isa? Oh, Isa showed up. That's so cute. Hello, good morning. We have a thought over here. Well, that will be the owls is like, I mean, outer expression of a thought, and thought is just like internally thinking through it, like you're mulling over some situation. This is like super clear over here, and maybe this is a situation that kind of like deals with lack of fidelity, or with the lack of kind of like dedication, if you wish, you know. And you're wondering if something like that can actually really work long term at all. You're also wondering if there are like interferences in this relationship, right? So let's say we're talking about work, the same thing, and then I will tell you, you're wondering if the person who interviewed you for a job it really likes you, or if you're already at work, you're wondering what kind of machinations are happening behind your back of some sort, right? There are lots of talks happening, and talk can get people during Mercury retrograde in a big poo-poo, right? So you really need to kind of like think about that, right? That is going to be maybe sibling energy, maybe phone call energy, maybe the gossip energy, but it can also mean therapy, right? Which thought means also kind of like preparing certain things. Maybe you're recognizing certain things in you that you want to cut out. Maybe this also can talk about third party pattern relationship. This doesn't mean that somebody always cheats. It means that, like, I mean, you meet people who are somehow unavailable, right? So it might be kind of like a situation where you will be really expressing yourself, right? But it's not going to be anger. It's going to be almost like culmination of a sort, right? That kind of like happens. So maybe you're going to have multiple decisions, and maybe you're going to simply cut certain decisions and just decided, well, that's not necessarily what I really want and how I really want to do that, right? So to me, clearly the birds and the snake, it's always gossip. And I think somebody is going to, a whiff of it is going to come to you, and that's why the sickle is here. You'll be just cutting it right out. You will want nothing to do with that because you feel that that's a negative energy that kind of like pulls you down. And this is kind of like really talking about understanding of how the energies work. Well, this looks like a lot, Isa. Thank you very much. And yay, Mexico, just send us please warm weather too. That's kind of like also helps. A little package and a little kind of like cubes. It was always my business idea to sell the cans, just cans, to sell it for Coke and package the air. And of course, it's a stupid business idea. And it could be only as a novelty, which I think somebody did eventually. So Leo, you need to avoid people who are indiscreet. You need to avoid people who are bragging about themselves. You will punish people who are not loyal. You will punish people who are not consistent. You will simply walk away, and it's going to be a fantastic freaking decision because you're going to be sort of like preserving yourself and the comfort. And this is something that is lasting. It's building over years. So maybe you have been building for the last 10 years, for the last 15 years, and you want this to continue. You also go in the future where you have some strong, firm ground. But this is not spelling it out. So hence, you need to be diligent and capable of removing anybody that is not necessarily on that path, right? Everybody else is just a visitor, so you need to kind of like be very careful about it, not to assign people who are interesting too much of a value over here, right? So take time to think over here. That is really important, and consider the entire situation before you move forward, right? So yeah, kind of like maturity will pay off in spades over here, as they say. So that's for my Leo over here. Okay. For my Leo. Who is next? Who is next? Ooh, I have two, and they're almost equal, so I'm going to take one first and the second one second. So Pisces, you're going next. Sweet Pisces. They're not so sweet when you piss them off. Oh my gosh, I have never seen a sign as pissed off as Pisces when they get angry. So just keep this in mind. And then kind of like they will go under the belt. So anybody else had experiences with Pisces? It's kind of going to be interesting. You want to peek? Who is the next one? It's going to be Virgo next. Okay, so let's go with Pisces. 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 Oh my gosh, I'm doing very well with this speed today. Pisces. We have the lady smelling the rose. It's under the roses, Lenormand. We have the tree. Something to health, something emotion. It could be reproductive health. The crossroads. Well, generally, my demographics is usually 35 or even 40 and over. So I don't have many people who just want to get pregnant kind of a thing. But I do have to say over here, it really looks this way. Or it's talking about some kind of children. And it's talking about doing definitely medical treatments in order kind of like to go in this direction. And even trying to go very, very far to explore different possibilities. And it's really important to kind of like look in this direction. But also what I see here, there is a really proper communication. You know how to express what you want, right? Maybe some of you will need to travel for health. Maybe some of you would. This also could mean obtain the ingredients that are from somewhere else in order for this to work, if this is just a health matter, right? Tree is really interesting card. Tree is usually, you know that technically I shouldn't be doing health things because A, I'm not the medical doctor, B, I don't know about medical intuitive, I'm not completely sold on it. But some cards over here are clearly signifying health issues, right? This is how Lenormand cards are done. Tree card was definitely one of them. And even in tarot we have, for example, Ace of Wands, when you have a tree that has a new sprout coming through that is also kind of like addressed in this way. So this is why I'm kind of like letting you know about that, right? So the tree is the card that can talk about ancestry. Maybe you're thinking about your mother, or even karma, even what is the whole idea of your own existence. When I do my karma readings, guys, I always advise every 3 to 6 months, unless you had something major coming to your life, right? Look into that, right? Look into what you need to experience right now, right? Because sometimes karma brings us even negative experiences that they push us it pushes us further to resolve, right? So I don't know, this card is concerned with somebody's health. Maybe you're turning back to your own health. This is like you're not Virgo, clearly, and maybe you're doing something that is reckless. Tree can also talk about drinking, so keep that under control as well, because stork is meaning like you need to replant yourself somewhere else. It's really, really important for that, right? So maybe you need something. Maybe you need to kind of like step aside from the environment where you are to take a focus away from your health. And that is really what is important here. But you don't have a ship, and you have the stork, which I can talk about car repair, car health. That can actually talk about that. It can also talk about ambulance car as well, of some sort. Maybe you're just a doctor. This is really talking about, you need to update your own knowledge about it as well. But all the cards overwhelming positive, kind of like dealing, communication is happening here, communication and kind of like some kind of like newness, new process. But look at this, a sweetheart and melancholy. It is so typical Pisces. You know how you have like the two fishes, one is flying, one is swimming this way, one is this way. That's almost like how I look. One is anticipating messages and communication, things to move forward. One is like, oh, it's never going to happen. So again, guys, you're in your own way over here. Many things here are going to be resolved with communication. You need to kind of like uplift yourself and kind of like work and work on whatever you want. You have a multiple ways of resolving this issue, and if the first and the second are not necessarily like immediately working out, you still have the third, and one of those three will work. So just don't give up. Don't just expect that everything is going to be immediately put in motion. So you just maybe need few more chances to try. So that is very important, right? Oh, did you miss Scorpio CBO music? No, you didn't miss Scorpio. You see the Scorpios, how intuitive they are. And the Scorpio, oh, I didn't put the Leo, thing here, so I'm going to put a question mark. Oh, I did put Leo, except I put it in Virgo. No, that's what happened here. Let me just do some corrections here. You see, because of you, CBO, now I realize I did something wrong. Mercury retrograde, we do mistakes a lot, and I do them in the most regular way. I don't have to wait for Mercury retrograde. So Virgo is next, which means that we have 3 more signs after that: Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. So let's do that. Virgo, so we have knitting yogi over here, so let's see what happens. Oh, I forgot the angel cards when I was doing this first time, girl. Okay, so I'll just do it a second time. Sleepy. Virgo, what do we have here for Virgo? Virgo. All right. So we have the dog, we have the ship, we have the letter, we have the fish, and then we have a man. It's almost like the same thing that I was just like really talking about. There's like some it's going to be communication. I think, Virgo, you might be dealing with somebody who is, let's say, not close by. Maybe there is a travel, maybe there's even significant travel that needs to happen. So hence ship the letter, kind of like something happens. It could be some kind of business, kind of like arrangement of a sort. For some reason I'm thinking, oh my gosh, prison. I was just saying, for some reason I'm thinking this person could have been in a different university campus somewhere in the world. And then this prison card came through, which indicates somebody feeling trapped in a situation. To me, this sometimes means marriage as well. And if this is the case, that somebody's like, you're wondering about somebody's loyalties because they're keeping some situation intact and whole, and you kind of like want this to be resolved. It's kind of interesting that you have both ship and the fish. So something is happening on the ground that is not very firm, right? Something is very, very fluid, right? So the letter is something that might kind of like put some kind of like constraints in the situation here as well, right? So you guys have really good intentions and good inclinations in moving forward, and this simply could mean also that the job offer is elsewhere, that you are receiving a job offer. It's something that needs to be kind of like done, and you're very excited about that. But at the same time, what is really not exciting is like needing to kind of leave things behind, because look, he's so upset, he's in chains, and he doesn't look like to be indigent, right? But he is in a good clothes, but he has this vase behind it. He's just really not paying attention, and that could be the key. So basically it tells us that in every situation we need to find in the smallest tiniest like thing, even like when we date somebody. We go on a date and we made this rash decision, nope, no, I don't like you, I don't feel chemistry. And sometimes chemistry happens like that, but sometimes you need to work at it, and when you work at it, it's even better, right, when it happens. So kind of like try to focus on something you really like on this person, and kind of like keep being there, right? So that could be some kind of like grave misunderstandings in the situation. I don't know, somebody might have financial constraints, so there is like this stuckness, or there's like some kind of like difficulty moving on. Maybe you cannot move in a new relationship, even though it's kind of like really showing up. It could be that some kind of shame or guilt or self-punishment. Kind of like, it does sound like you. It will be something that Virgo or Capricorn would do, right? So guys, you know, this is telling me altogether there is a situation that needs to be cracked. That's something that is now locked or closed, and maybe you have inability to break free. The ship is about breaking free, the fish is about breaking free, but the dog is almost looking at this ship, and you're not willing to break free because you're holding certain things dear to you, what you have. So whether this is your family, your peace, your job, your freedom, that can be there, right? And it can be some kind of like, oh, this is Virgo as a sign. You have this hermit, right? Like, it really needs to find his own answers. So it could be some solitude that is needed, that is suggesting possibly the end of a relationship. But it's also suggesting possibly the end of these misunderstandings, because the letter end of fish can talk about maybe, oh, some of you have a romantic relationship with somebody that you're doing business with. So now this is kind of like getting complicated. So now I really think it's really needed to get out and try to communicate. But this might still last a while because of Mercury retrograde. You're affected with Mercury more than the others because it rules your sign. And you need to wait until the 20th. But certain things will start to kind of like open up. You're not going to be completely in the dark. Things are going to start to show, and I would not advise to jump on them right away. Just make them roll in their own kind of like place. So this is normal. And of course, I didn't put Virgo over here now when I was supposed to. So I know that Barbie is usually catching this. So I'm going to put here, put a question mark next to it for everybody else. And now, let's see. We have, oh, and this one goes next. We have Libra. Libra is next. It's my ascendant, and Barbie is Libra. Who else? Who else? Who else? Libra. So we have the crossroads. Ooh, that's something you hate, guys. Oh my gosh, your reading for this month was something. It was like putting things in balance from all the sides. It's just like, you like doing that, but that's also kind of like exhausting at the same time. So it was really, really something, right? Oh, your ascendant. Ah, hi, Nevin. Nice to see you. Ooh, look at that. Who everybody's like showing. This is so nice to see you guys here. So we see the crossroads, we see the sun. Woo! Take the right turn. Right turn is getting you where you need to do. So the right turn is what you intuitively feel it's right. So if you think, okay, well, this kind of like it's maybe boring, maybe I should do the left one or something else. No, you need to do the boring one. And that boring one is turned out to be not boring at all. So keep that in mind. Yes, look at the key. Something will happen for sure, and something really good. Key is like a promise in this particular deck of things. You're unlocking some secrets. You're not unlocking your destiny. This is the karma card over here that comes through, if you wish. And house. Are you buying the house? Are you moving the house? Are you having a business in the house? Did I not tell a karma card? This is a karma card too. Holy moly. What's happening over here? So guys, maybe some of you are going on some kind of like pilgrimage. Well, Easter is not really close around, but I don't know, like you're paying attention to something that is going to be really important. Usually key in the house technically talks about being in the house, purchase of the house, kind of like a new development. Key also has a number 33, which is like a huge master number. It's a very, very positive energy over here. Talks about some kind of access, maybe you bought a house, maybe you rent an apartment. Now it is a time to move in. It's weird, not in the middle of the month, but something is happening here that actually spells success or spells solution. These three cards. And it's almost like how that this is happening. It feels like it waited for you to do this. It waited for you to do this like triptych. The things really line up. You know when they say like stars lined up. So this is kind of like a really big wish card, and you're also kind of like getting this with the sun, and you're getting it with the cross, right? And so when do we do the wishes? We do wishes when we really, really, really want something, or when we are really, really, really desperate. And then we really want to try to get out of it. So as you notice right away, they don't have the same energies how they are happening, right? So it is a time to, I guess, unlock doors of some sort, right? And indicate that the really important things are coming on over here. This means being maybe a little bit dogmatic. Remember how I said something is going to be boring? But that dogmatic, which you are not necessarily, will be saving your furry butt if you really wish, right? This key is always pointing the way, and it's saying you need to keep yourself and your goals above everybody and everything else, right? So on a spiritual level, because now we have the spirit entering the reading, right? It can mean higher or divine forces, kind of like that they're working around you. It also can be a card of your own hidden potential. So there is like this need to meditate on the concept and kind of like things to do, right? So these are going to be very, very, very important decisions before you. Very, very important, right? So you have the key and a cross, and you have a crossroads and cross, right? So key and a cross. Key and a cross can talk about some kind of sacrifices, and sacrifices are always needed. It's not ever that you can eat your cake and have it too. So some sacrifices will be needed, but there'll be very important decisions. They'll be like, I mean, before you, right? And you will basically have almost like guaranteed success, right? So if this is a relationship, guys, because the sun can indicate a partner, then there's like something on a deep soul level that you feel that you need to make quote unquote executive decision, and you really need to understand what is the essence, what is in the very, very heart of this relationship, right? It's also going to be significant change if there is like something about your job, and you know there is this understanding of mastery, and that's one of the words that can really upset me and push me and trigger me like in seconds, because whenever I open Facebook or Instagram, like every 20-year-old is telling me how master they are everything, whatever they are doing. They're just masters. And for mastery, you really need to be, you know, apprentice for a long while, for maybe, I think, 10,000 hours in order to be considered kind of like, yeah, just right now, you're good. You kind of covered all the angles. So, for example, this is why I stopped doing yoga. I used to be a big yoga fan, until a 20-year-old something is trying to teach me yoga when they don't have even understanding of wisdom of a sort. So there is going to be something like that where you will actually have this real mastery. You're going to start thinking and looking at things in a completely different way, right? So it's going to be very, very, very significant. And for you, this is really happening like now. It's not like that you need to wait for some kind of like stuff. Yeah. It's happening right now. It's a kind of like lift off, because you're on the air sign. You will really want, this is a change, this is a transition, right? And there's something that really needs to happen. So guys, it could be also that this is inheritance of a sort, and that you I was supposed to take the other card, but I took this one. It's really interesting because this one also has a stork gift. So there's like some money coming through as a result of it. So yes, it could be inheritance of a sort, and that's going to be really interesting. Oh my gosh, Libra, I really want to see what's going on. And since Libra is my ascendant, I'm playing lottery too now, because I can really, really use some money. Oh, and look at this one. It's ended up here. I'll put it here. So that was Libra, who I also didn't put it in. And so I'm going to put now Scorpio. And why do I have a Sagittarius? I was like, why do I have one more card over there? And I shouldn't be having it. But I do have Sagittarius going last. So Scorpio. So guys, what do you like better? Do you like better Lenormand or Tarot, or it doesn't matter? Just it's to do a little change over here. Scorpio. So we have a tree. Oh my gosh, I was dreaming about Scorpio. What was it about Scorpio? I don't know. I was feeling a little bit sorry for Tiger, who is a Scorpio, who's like so intense, and he wants to protect me, and then he gets this bad reputation, right, for him doing everything right. So I'm thinking like, well, you're dedicating your life to me, and you're not getting this kind of like recognition kind of a thing. Scorpio are going to have health issues. And those health issues that you'll have are AIDS related, and they could be virus related. If you are even planning to go outside, you know, they tell you to look for the trees when there are troubles in the health. You have lots of trees. You have them in the tree card, you have them here, and then you have plants over here, right? So there are like some issues over here, and I would not recommend gathering. I really wouldn't. It looks like you want to meet somebody from the past, and it kind of like something really looks promising. Maybe this is even a job interview. If you can, please postpone it, right? Please, please, please postpone it. So this is confusing because the lilies is kind of like this Mercury retrograde principle, brings things from the past. There is a spark in between the relationship. The bear also means, oh, it's not only a spark, but that can kind of last. So you are thinking this because that's what Mercury retrograde makes you do, pulls the wool over your face, but then, oh, this is the result. You don't get the bear, you get the mice kind of a thing, right? So the bear has a fish and the mice leaves the kind of like droppings in it, right? So Scorpio, I guess this is a big intensity over here. Like, I mean, you have a direction, it's which one you want to go. You are focused on sex because you're Scorpio, right? That is really, really important over here. But there's going to be something here that kind of scares me a little bit. There's going to be a meeting over money, or there'll be talk about money, or if not money, it's going to be something a long-term direction. You will really want to know where things are certainly going. So kind of like lilies can be both virtuous and that can be sexual, right? That can represent our ancestral line, so which means how is somebody fitting to where we are. Or maybe it simply talks about we have two different partners that have a huge discrepancy in their income, right? One is like really well padded, another one is struggling, kind of a thing. And the one that is struggling is really afraid for his or her health in the situation, right? The bear can also indicate mother as well, that maybe somebody else is stepping in, and that kind of like will connect with this ancestral kind of like issues over here. And you're getting messenger. So I really hope this is not news about somebody's, because I don't have anything that will indicate death, but there could be news about somebody's illness, and that kind of like would be interesting. But if the news are there, that person can, with a proper attitude, actually look for a solution. And I really think kind of like still kind of like get out of it and make it a long-term commitment to the health. The tree is the first, but the tree is mirrored with the mice, right? Which is important. The bear and his whole thing would kind of like, whether this is like a relationship or something that wants to last will depend on meeting a whole bunch of people, right? Or if this is your health, you will need to meet with a whole bunch of specialists to come to the solution, right? And the solution will be there. It's going to be some kind of expert that will emerge, or it's going to be a person that will emerge in all of that. But at the same time, I do have to warn you that in this combination, I do see possibility of you being exposed to a virus, and especially when you're exposed to big groups, even if those quote-unquote gatherings are outside. I don't know if you know that even in a cold air, actually even more so in a cold air, you can contrain. Well, that's not a word. You can get the virus. Oh, anyway, I don't want to be a mommy or a doctor. And the very last one over here, double confirmation should biological. The last one is Sagittarius. And let's see, my dear Saggies, what do we get here for you? Sagittarius, put a stamp. Okay. Sagittarius. Sagittarius. Yeah, Lenormand can really go deep. Like you can see how much with 5 cards I can just imagine with 36. It's kind of exhausting, but it's almost like analytical, so that's what I like. So you're going with the sun, like you're like happy. There is like a happy energy over here that comes through, and this one also wants to come out. It's the sun and the stars, and that's what I saw in your monthlies. You're finally tired of everything, but you do have somebody who is trying to control you, or who is controlling you here over here. So this could be a co-worker. The fox can indicate 9 to 5. And maybe you have a person above you who is determining your success. And I don't know why Bikram, you know, the guy who had those yoga studios, Bikram, and he would be, you know, sexual assaulting those women, and they couldn't even say anything because he was the one making a decision if their studio will be approved. So be really careful about this. Like, you're very enthusiastic. You have the sun, you have the moon, and you have the stars. This is bloody fantastic, because this means something really big, some kind of like really big success. But you do have somebody above you here. You have the fox and you have the cross that is kind of like positioned to somebody who's very clever. This also could mean they're trying to enthuse you, to pop you in a situation that you're very excited over something, which could mean they're cooking something else on the side. It could be a prankster, it could be a detective, that somebody's looking at you, somebody quick-witted, somebody's hunting, somebody's fishing for the information, kind of a thing, right? It's also kind of like, let's call it undercover person. So maybe somebody's trying to get some information from you, but it's done to control you, right? Unless you're the fox. You see, you're getting thought. You really need to think about it. Mind you, take this away from the situation, the fox and the cross. It's absolutely awesome. So maybe you shouldn't be putting all the eggs in one basket, my dear Sagittarius. There's like somebody who is kind of like watching you, and who is saying maybe, like, I mean, especially when you go to work or during the day hours, kind of like will be very important, right? If you are the fox, that's a different story. That means you're going to outmaneuver some situation, right? You're going to kind of position yourself properly, but somebody might tell you kind of like, oh, well, this was like a sneaky way of doing it, and so on and so forth, right? So what is really important here to kind of like note is that is like something that will be happening in about, I don't know, 14 days. You don't have a home. You don't have anything that is kind of like tangible. You can say, well, this person will show up here, so it's definitely business, right? You don't have, let's say, a dog or a snake that's going to say, this is outmaneuvering something that has been done in the past, right? So we have this celestial stuff and very spiritual, very kind of like uplight stuff. So this is telling me you need to kind of like raise yourself above the mundane. You really need to go in this situation where you do what is the best. You do what is very authentic, and things are going to fall in place. Emotionally, you will be pleased over here. But somebody will take advantage of you, or at least try to take advantage of you. So you have to go through this process, making them think that they succeeded, and then wait to figure out the system, how to balance the situation and how to get ahead. And you're absolutely capable. You're kind of like a big thinking sign. So good for your Sagittarius. So let's see. Yes, I recall the story. I have to laugh. as there is not there to find. Forgot what story it is. So now we're going to do pick a card number 2. And then, actually, before I pick a card, I'm going to pull the angel cards for everybody that is here today. Then we're going to do pick a card, and then I'm going to pull the cards for my mods. So let's do it in this direction. And I can save myself from this wind that's blowing behind me. I don't know, maybe it's air conditioning working as well. That would be nuts. Needing Yogi. The card that you get is expectancy. So you're setting certain things, like, expectations that you want, even though it shows like almost like a gift of some sort. So you kind of like, almost like you're looking for some kind of like amends. Then we have Carol Lamb. If she's still here, you got this one. You're getting strength. Like, you need to be in the nature, you need to kind of like touch trees, and that's going to actually connect you with the energy that is going to be very, very beneficial for you. And you can kind of like raise yourself about it. Then we have Barbie. Barbie, spontaneity. Kind of dance, loosen up a little bit, because it looks like that could be a stress in a situation when kind of like we come up with this. And we have Kylie. Kylie, presence. And presence is important also if you feel frustration or if you feel anxiety. And this is really telling you, no, you need to be in the Zen area over here. You need to be here because this information can arrive instead of you running in all directions. So maybe almost looks like you need to step into something, but you still need to stay here. That's the message that is really, really happening over here. So there is one for Cat Tarot. Let's see from me. Efficiency. Oh, look at this. This is me under the table with a whole bunch of work on top of it. I know I should be more efficient, but it's just so much I can do. Dealing with health issues, dealing with long readings that are really draining. So I saw one woman, like, she wrote, well, her weight line is 1.5 years. And that's insane. That's insane. Who would wait 1.5 years, right? But she just said, I just can't. I just can't. You can put yourself in, but you don't have to, kind of a thing, right? And I'm afraid this is going to happen here as well. Okay, so then Kelsey, responsibility. What kind of like responsibility you want to carry, and what kind of role you really want to go in it, right? And now I have C, another Aquarius. You have abundance. So celebrate, feel. It's a really, really good energy. Then Chris, and Chris, you came out. You can write whatever you want. This is Drake and Tyler, but I purposely left this blank card in there. So sky's the limit for you. That's freaking awesome. Then we have Creative Guru. We have Creative Guru here. And you're getting enthusiasm. It almost looks like it's a winter scene with a shawl, and there's a little kind of like waving flag. So I guess you need to boost your spirits over here. That's really important. And let's see, do I have anybody else? I did Kylie, I did Creative Guru. Lorna H. Lorna H is here. You're getting trust. Ooh, with a unicorn. So you need to trust that some ideas, maybe somebody is pushing you down, somebody is telling you that you need to be more grounded. Well, quite the opposite is the truth. You need to really believe and dream bigger dreams. So that's really important over here for you. And then we have Issa, you have light. You just kind of like keep yourself unaffected with negativity and with nonsense, and that's really, really going to help, right? That really goes there. Then I have Sally. Oh gosh, we have a good Sally. It's wisdom. Oh, look at this. You have the Hermit. You kind of like figure things on your own. You figure things on your own, and nobody can take this away from you when you have it. It's really, really important, right? Then we have CBO music. I hope she's still in the car. Patience, patience. Just Rome was not built in a day. It's important, kind of a thing. And we have Nevin. Hello, Nevin. Nice to see you. Come more often. Missed you, sweetie. Surrender. Whatever it is, you need to let go of some energy. Something is making you feel very tense. So just kind of like release it. Release it and let universe deal with this. Oh, 33 is your life path number, Kylie. That's a big master number. You need to be a diplomat. That's kind of tough. Let's see. And then we have Gilda who showed up. Hello, Gilda. Miss Gemini, you are coming on the tail end, but you're going to get your angel card because you did speak up. And getting education. Education means there are still certain things that you need to sort out and understand, or maybe this is simple that you have to deal with your children and pay attention to. So we did angel cards. Now we're going to do the doors, and when I do the doors, then we are going to do the one card for each mod, and we have lots of mods here today, so I'm just going to give you a brief thing when we get there. So let me just hide this a little bit because usually they flip all over the table. So okay, so door number one. Think about, guys, which door you want. Now think about the question that you are asking. Just for now, focus on your question. Focus on your question. And think intensely about this question. Still think very, very, very intensely about your question. And how is this going to change things in your life. Don't think about the solution you want to have. Just say to universe to give you a sign. And now we are going to, you pick left, center, or right. And we are going to see which way it is. Okay. Let me just switch, go back to YouTube. So door number one is Knight of Rods. This may happen, but it doesn't have a staying power. So if you're asking for a person to come, this person might come, you might sleep, and he or she will be gone after that. It's going to be the very last time that sometimes is needed. And sometimes it's good for closure, and it's going to be sex, it's going to be good, but it doesn't have a lasting power. So if it's not relationship, it can happen to some degree, but just to tell you, it was supposed to be the way it was, kind of a thing, right? The door number two is the Fool reversed. This is literally telling you, do not be foolish. Something can be devastating and break the leg, and it can be a big cost. It's not worth it, clearly. And the door number three, woo, look at this. We have all the negativity over there now. Queen of Cups reversed. This talks about some severe manipulation. Somebody manipulate with tears, with emotional things, with strings. The family does it. Do I need this? So all these wishes that we just like now massively ask for have some kind of like failure almost like built in it, right? So it's kind of like telling us that maybe we need to go higher in kind of like how we perceive certain things and not to allow others to manipulate us. So that is really, really important. So what I'll be doing now, I'll be shuffling these cards and then randomly just stop and pull a card for all of us, and I'll go back, and this time it's just for the mods, and hopefully I'll get all of them, all of you. So Knitting Yogi, you're getting Queen of Rods. So Queen of Rods is a mover and shaker. It's telling you, it's kind of interesting because there is the sun, basically the sunflower is following the sun. So you know who is quote unquote the person that you need to kind of rotate around. You're well aware of it, but you're also very strong in your own, on your own. So you're holding your own as well, and you're saying, yeah, you know, I'll find some collaboration with you, but this is kind of like how I want it. So that's a very strong, it's a really card that denotes action as well. Then Barbie is next. Round of applause for Barbie, please, guys. Just give her thumbs up. and give me some likes as well. It will be great. Who would say it was like already 208 people on this live? I just wish that people talk more about it. Barbie, there is like a reunion. There is love over here. Shall I say more? Eye to eye. And it's in the daytime. Aren't you ashamed kissing in the middle of the street in the daytime? Oh well. Kylie, you're comfortable where you are. You're having this Nine of Pentacles. She's so enjoying herself. She feels accomplished. She feels she's in her lush garden and her lush stuff. So you need to pamper yourself a little bit. You feel accomplished. You should kind of like keep this quote-unquote crown, as they call it in this situation. You feel that you're in control. You feel like that you can actually send messages if you want. You have this peacock, I guess, over here as well. So this is overall a really good card, but you also feel bountiful, and you're not necessarily inclined to share this. It's almost like it feels like I fought for it, and I really want to keep it the way it is. What's the card for me? Card for me is Nine of Wands. Maybe simply telling me about this episode with the dog. Don't fight, just give up. It's time to give up, kind of a thing. Barbie, I did you. Chris, Page of Pentacles. This is again a friend. This is the ultimate friend. Move it slow, kind of like no rush things, and this person wants to explore, to learn about you, and vice versa. This can be about some kind of like really studious encounter over here as well, but don't expect speed to kind of like happen as a result. So then we have Creative Guru here. Creative Guru is getting Wheel of Fortune reversed. No shit will hit the fan, pardon my language, but Wheel of Fortune reversed means you're on the bottom and things will start irritating you, things will start getting in your way. But the good news is like this is the only way up. It's a karma card. It almost like means that something else you're going to be saddled with. It might kind of explode in your face, but you know what? You'll be able to really quickly kind of climb up and get yourself out of this situation, right? Let me see who is next there. Lorna H. Ooh, Lorna H. There is some difficulty that you'll be experiencing. The difficulty means that you really want to move in a new direction, but there are still lots of things that are dragging you down. That's the Mercury Retrograde kicking you. Do this and do this and do this. It's just like not going in the end. It could be too late. This talks about burdens. This talks about secrets. This talks about not having best choices for the future. The advice with this card is usually, hey, you know, you need to drop quite a few things and kind of like do better planning, do project kind of like around that you need to do in order for you to kind of like have a better clarity about in which direction you're going. It's a good card. 10 of other than secrets, so whatever it is needs to be communicated, right? So you're just finally realizing things need to be done. Then we have Sally. Ooh, Sally. It's all about children. It's all about the past. You're like reminiscing about the past. I have to tell you, Sally was sending me like, I mean, her old photographs. They were so freaking amazing. This is what this is all about. It's just like amazing. So it's going to probably continue like that. I love when you guys, when you kind of like share this with me. It's like so nice to know you. And I'm working toward kind of like getting over my shyness and going on camera, but just give me until spring. This winter is just not, it's just like not motivating enough. And who else do we have here? Who else? Isabel, did I do you? I don't think so. I didn't do Isabel. You're getting 9 of Wands. So this is the card of a warrior. It's somebody who's saying, look, it was a rough fighting and stuff, but I have a feeling we are getting somewhere. It's still not time to give up on something. So this is a person who's still moving forward, but with understanding, like, I'm going to give it one more chance of some sort in some kind of like direction. So it is a 9, but let's try it one more time. So that could be in a relationship, it can be in business, it could be in communication, like all kind of like different lovely things. And CBO music. Hey, hey. Oh, and you got 2 cards. Ew. Hello, CBO music. What the heck is happening? Feel stuck in a situation, you feel people are not really willing to help you. This doesn't happen. This doesn't. You're Scorpio, right? Yeah. Because look at this. 8 and 5. It's 13. It's really telling you there's like something scorpionic over here. Like you're really intensely focused on somebody who maybe is currently not strong enough to meet you with your own energy. So message here is like that you really need to remove this blindfold. You need to take care of number 1, and that's 2 very strong messages. Then you can attend to everything else, because somebody is really weakening your energy shield currently in the situation. And Nevin, you actually should be a mod. Nevin, I'm still freaking waiting for you to come up with that success sauce. Jesus. Nevin. The devil reversed, and this one wanted to come out in 3 of Cups. So you are kind of like finally letting down and realizing like the constraints that you had, and you realize maybe they were self-imposed. You just didn't do something because somebody else told you you can't, but that was not the reality. So this is kind of like really interesting, and it's telling you go back to work. You need to kind of like obtain a certain expertise over here. So it is very, very important over here. And I think this is it. Nope. I just want to see to the end. Yeah, I think Creative Guru, did I do this? Did I do you? Creative Guru, I think I did. If I didn't, if I forgot anybody, let me know, guys, so I can quickly kind of like pull the cards for you. I think that I covered you all. And yeah, I didn't get enough sleep, so yeah, I'm a little bit tired, but like everything in a kind of like good mood. So happy Super Bowl weekend, guys. I have no idea, I never watch it, it's not my thing. It's going to be a great time to watch something, but whenever I have to go out, I have to put 2 hats, 2 t-shirts, 2 layers, 2 pants, snow gloves. It is like that cold. So Tiger will probably go 2 days in daycare next week. So love you, everybody. You know that I care for you, and I just appreciate that you're all there. So, but yeah, Creative Guru, I did you or did you not? So, my apologies if I did you not, kind of a thing. So, everybody have a beautiful weekend. Just stay warm if you are in a cold kind of like ambience where I am, or have fun if you're in the summer like Kylie is. So, all the best. Miss Safi apparently decided that she doesn't want to grace us with her presence. Tiger was quiet, and Matrix is sleeping somewhere as well. So let me play something for us. I got you. Okay, good. I thought I did, but just wanted to make sure. Let's play a little bit of guitar for our rendezvous, and then I'll see you next Saturday. Next Saturday will be oh my god. Oh no, I was like saying Valentine. It's not going to be. It's going to be 13th. But that's going to be awesome. We'll be checking the Valentine Day forecast, so that's going to be great. Okay, guys, love you. I'll talk to you soon. good to see you all. Stay warm. Be safe in travels. All of you who are doing